Hello everyone, it is just about midday on the 31st of July, so I'm doing the first part of my July update, and then once I've done some stitching this evening on my last project for July, my last evening, then I'll record an update of that tomorrow, so it gets recorded in 2 parts and I don't have to rush around tomorrow trying to squeeze things in around work. It's just easier. Anyway, welcome to the channel. Hello again if you're a returning viewer, and welcome if you're new. This is where I talk about my full coverage projects, which is pretty much mostly what I stitch on. There are a few other bits and pieces, but this is just showing full coverage. And this is what I've worked on in July. So we've had a switch around with the projects because back in May I finished Unicorn, which was my 3-week focus piece for those months, and once I'd finished that, before I finished that, I was kind of trying to decide what I was going to do for the focus piece. So it could have been a new start then, but I'd rather focus on something that I'm making good progress on, or that I'm close to finishing, or that it is so huge that I just want to make progress on it, which is why Trick or Treat is where it is. So rather than put a new start in and make that my focus piece, I had my new start at the end of last month, which you would have seen in last month's update video, and had a bit of a shift around, put a stitching time into the lunchtime weekend slots, and then moved Nightmare up to be my 3-week project. Now, Nightmare had been in the weekend slot, so it's worked on Saturday and Sunday mornings, and I made some really good progress with that. So as I was really enjoying it, really making progress with it, I decided to move it into the 3-week focus slot. So this has been stitched on for 21 days. At the start of the month I just had this page here, and I'd made a small start on this page, which is page 12. Page 12 here, which is Sally's face. I kind of guessed that she would be much simpler to stitch than Jack, because all the confetti, she wasn't so bad. So I finished page 12, and I also did page 13 in those 21 days. In total I did 11,753 stitches, which is good going. I had some time off work during that time as well, so some evenings, kind of afternoon and evening, so I did have a bit longer to stitch on it. So I've also started pages 14 and 15, which are the end of this row, and kind of from Sally's fingertips down, that's how much I've done on that. I'm doing that because the last page is mostly this background, so what I'll do is I'll stitch some of the regular area, the foreground image, and then do a length of thread on the background, it breaks things up a bit, and I don't really enjoy block stitching that much, so it's just nice to do lots of colour switches and then do one length of thread for the whole length of the thread. So I am now over 50% complete on this project, and this is the middle row of pages. So once I've done that, there is actually only one more full row and a mostly full row. Although it's a partial, it is mostly full. So I'm mostly full of background because, yeah, like you see around the top. So again, I will break that up. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to work the next two rows together so that I work foreground and the background, the mostly background page at the same time. Not made a decision on that yet. In all likelihood, I'm not going to decide until I get there. But there we go, there's Locke appearing over Jack's shoulder. And I really love this piece, it's so sweet, and especially that cat. So I'm really enjoying it, and progress is nice and quick. I'm hoping to actually get this finished next year, continuing on the 3-week rotation with this one. So I've got 2 more months on this one this year, September and November on this. So I will have those 2 pages finished in the next rotation, and yeah, then I'll have to start making a decision about what I'm going to do about the bottom. Do I want to leave it all to last? Probably not, but we'll see if it's how much I can get onto available to stitch and still reach it. So I'll see. I've got a feeling I'm going to end up saving it. I don't know. Anyway, that was that piece, and now we are on, let's pull this forward a little bit, go under the light. This is QS Yexian Festival Night, just a quick stitch, and I stitched this one first thing in the morning, so it's kind of waking up and getting my head into the right space before I start back, so it's just weekday mornings. And this month I have stitched on her 19 days. I'm working the first 50 rows across the top because I'm using this one in a square hoop. Because I wanted it to be a bit more mobile, and actually if I go away anywhere overnight I can take this one with me hopefully. So she's quite pick up and put downable. I'm stitching it on 20 count easy count Ada from Zweigart, and I'm using 2 strands of thread, so the colours are really vibrant, and even though it's from a watercolour, the colours really stand out, especially those blues. I really like the blues. So because I'm not stitching this in pages as such, I took the total number of stitches, divided that by the number of pages that are in the project, and got a kind of page milestone figure, and then I'll work towards that to count as a page finish. So this month I hit my first milestone, and I am actually now on the top of page 3, and that is the entire width of the piece, just a quick stitch. So we've got so now I finished off her head. Love those blues, they're so fun to stitch with. And this is the light from the lantern that she's holding. So now I'm in the background again. Still some of these creams and white. 3770 is not my favourite colour. I really don't enjoy stitching with it. Sometimes it looks too pink, sometimes it looks too orange, and sometimes you can't tell what colour it is at all. It really does pick up its colour based on what is around it. So I don't don't enjoy it. So I'm working on these little orbs of light, perhaps fireflies maybe, that are gathering around the light of the lantern. And as you can see, I've done roughly 20 rows. So this one gets stitched every month. So I need to get back on the hoop ready for tomorrow. And then I can continue on with page 3. Once I've done the first 50 rows on this, and I'll go back to page 1 and work the next 50 rows, which will take me through to the next row of pages. But yeah, I really enjoy this. I'm 12% complete on this, and it's 19 days and 3,527 stitches and 1 page milestone. So that takes us to one I've just been working on this morning. This is my weekend and lunchtime piece for July. This is Bizzare Bookshelf by artwork by Colin Thompson, and it's a Gecko Rouge kit. The first one was a Gecko Rouge kit, that's Medusa Dollmaker, and Yexian is Heaven and Earth Designs. One day I'll remember what order to say things in. This is 25 count easy count, and I'm stitching it full crosses 1/1. And when I started it this month, I got some of the black done on this page here, which is page 8. I obviously finished page 8, and I've made a really good start on page 9. It's nice to get some colour after that black and white page. Especially when those pinks came in. That was good. So, I don't know at what point during page 8, but I started to go colour by colour. I've got 158 different colours in this project, and so I don't really want that number of needles threaded, because it is upstairs in my craft room, and I need to be able to get it all out and put it away really quickly, because lunchtime you only get an hour at the most to stitch on it. So everything has to be easy to grab. So this one doesn't have all the pre-threaded, so I'm just working from the thread organisers. So I just, at some point it clicked, just do colour by colour. I've tried it before and it doesn't always suit me, but for some reason, I think because there's so many just distinct areas of colour, it really worked. So as you can see, that's what I've been doing on page 9 as well. I'll zoom in a little bit. So I think this one is aviation. So we've got a little, tiny little biplane there. It's so cute. And then we've got the rocket ship taking off. So this sort of smoke from that. I've picked out the colours for this book and stitched those. This book is yellow, so I think a lot of the colours are going to, that are in this part, will be in this part as well. So next time this comes out, there'll be a lot of filling in. Now, I can't believe how many stitches I got done on this piece during lunchtimes and weekend mornings. There were a few days in the month where I could not stitch on this at all, because we, for the first time in this country, we hit a 40-degree high, and it was 40 degrees centigrade Celsius. It's 40 degrees Celsius where I live. It was hot. Our houses are built to insulate us against the cold weather. So when the houses get hot, they stay hot, and opening the windows doesn't do anything because it's so hot outside and there's no breeze. In fact, it's probably rained 2 or 3 times this month. It's not good. Everything's brown and it's not nice. It's all dying. We're not suited for this weather at all. I can't wait till autumn. So my craft room was like an oven. It was so hot I couldn't breathe. It was just too hot. So a couple of days of no sewing in my craft room until temperatures had come down to a more acceptable level and we had a breeze, so I could get all the windows open and all the fresh air blowing through. I've got the window open again today because it's slightly warm. It's not as warm as it was. The funny thing is that the week, 7 days after we had the 40 degrees high, the temperature was 20 degrees. We had a 20 degree Celsius drop in a week. That's crazy, but welcome. I enjoy it. I prefer comfortable levels. Anyway, that'll be the annual rant about the weather. I hope it's not going to get so hot again. And because it interferes with your sewing time. Let's face it. It's too hot. Your hands don't feel like holding a needle. But despite that, I still managed to do 7,233 stitches. 23 days, so 23 times I worked on this, and I finished one page, and I got most of another one done as well, so it's really good going. I'm hoping that quick stitching, I'm hoping that it stays with me for a stitching time. I would really like to get lots of stitches done on a stitching time. That's going to be my project for August. So that's what I've worked on. Well, I've still got one more project to show you once I've worked on it today. I've had massive progress on that one as well. And in August, the plan is 21 days on Trick or Treat. It's my main project. Yexian in the mornings, a stitching time, lunch times and weekend mornings, and then that leaves me with the 1 week at the end of the month, and that will be my second month on winter post in flying. So I'll be stitching something that feels a lot cooler. I'm stitching autumn and winter next on summer shelf on the stitching time, but mostly autumn and winter, and I can't wait. So I'll pop back in a second for you with what I've got done on Little Light Reading this month, and I'll say goodbye after that. Welcome back. It is still the 31st of July, but I've finished stitching on A Little Light Reading for the month now, and I stitched 6,555 stitches, which is huge. I've got lots done, so this is how he's looking now. So just zoom in on what I worked on. So I finished off, there was a little bit of the tummy of the dragon, or the dragling to stitch, which I finished that. And then I stitched this page 20. As you can see, it is mostly big purple book. I think that's probably the biggest block of big purple book that I have to do. There's still quite a bit left, but it's not as... That's about half a page of it. I managed it, I got through it. The pages of the book there. Because the mobile phone is stitched with white, it really does look like it's giving off the light. It's a really amazing effect. So, so I finished that page, and then I came down onto page 25 and made a start on that. It's patchwork blanket, so I'm going to say that it's going to be lots of different colours, but at the moment it's mostly browns, which isn't so fun. This bit goes on to the next page. At the moment that's grey. I think that becomes blue. It's just the shadows, and I can't remember what other colours that I've got down here. I'm looking forward to seeing some other colours. I don't know when I'll get to them. I think it's quite a bit of brown. I'm going to, because this page takes me back to the leftmost edge, but actually there's another page underneath it, which is the partial last row of pages, but that's only about 20 stitches, so I'm going to stitch both of those together. So once I come down, because the colours from the blanket will go down into that page anyway, I may as well just stitch that. So that's the plan for when it's next out on rotation, is to actually get, that will be my third corner. That will be good. That will be a nice milestone in this project. I am over 50% now on this project as well. There we go, draggling. So I have, that's the second corner, because I did those two pages together. So when I move back to the top, it will be onto the second row of pages. I don't know if I'm going to work the side page again with it. It depends where I get to with the bottom, how much I get of that section, how much I get done on there, because when I come back on the rotation I might be finishing off that page, in which case I might be tempted to just scoot across and stitch that one as well. But that's for November. No, there's another month before that. No, that one will be November, because the next month will be on this one. I know where I am, really. So that's it for the month. I have completed all of the Whips of Wonder now for the Full Coverage Fanatics challenge. I'd already done the 22,000 stitches in 2022 on Trick or Treat. I have also passed that milestone now on Nightmare, and also on this project, A Little Light Reading. I have now completed, I haven't got it there, I think it was 25,000 stitches on this now this year, which is good going. I mean, if I put all that effort into one piece, I'd get most of it done in a year, but then I wouldn't see lots of different projects, so it wouldn't be as fun, would it? So that's it for now. Tomorrow, rotation switches. I am working on Trick or Treat to start with, QS Yexian in the morning. Lunchtime will be a stitch in time. I've got that all set up upstairs on the frame ready to go. And then on the 22nd of the month I'll be switching to Winter Porth Dimfline. And August is also a 31-day month, so this is where we kind of switch. The ones that were 31 days projects at the start of the year will now finish the year as 30-day projects, won't they? So we have that little flip over in the middle. So looking forward to getting back to Trick or Treat tomorrow and seeing what progress I can get done on that in the 21 days. So I will be back at the end of the month with an update, so you can see where I got to, and I'll let you know the numbers and all that. And I will endeavour to do some Stitch With Me's in between then. I think I only got one done this month. Though it's one more than last month. So it's progress. Anyway, I will see you to talk to you at the end of August, beginning of September. So until then, have a good stitching time. Bye for now.